class you take makes you pay a fee for being in that class. On top of those expensive books, which they've now gotten, I call it a scam thing, where Alabama has this particular edition of this book that's only at the University of Alabama. You have to only buy it in their bookstore. Yes, because you know how they got it, where you could go buy used and all this stuff.
That is pretty, not a new concept, but it's been expanded on a lot.
So, just every time I see that thing, it's ka-ching, ka-ching, something else. And Brittany will go, oh, I got this free thing.
Oh, yeah, free.
No, it's not free.
Nothing's free.
Yeah, we went over there for the, going in on what they call, I guess, orientation. And they were giving out these t-shirts on the back. You had to get money simple. I said, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
They thought, what did you want?
Did it show a big funnel?
All right, it's exactly 6:15. We'll call this meeting to order. Has everybody taken a chance to look over our minutes from our last meeting? If so, do I have a motion? I got a motion. Do I have a second? Motion and a second. All in favor? All right. Carl, got anything on financial report that's changed much?
Not much. We just had a couple of things. So we've got a balance right now in the account of 69,877 after paying a legal bill and earning a little bit of interest. That's all we did last month.
Any questions from Carl?
How much of that 69,877 is obligated, Carl?
Signs,
I do not know what's left of that signs.
44?
I thought it was 40-something thousand.
Yeah,
So,
sounds about right.
so roughly 30,000 or so is not obligated there.
Well, about 29,000, yeah.
That's close to 30.
I'm an accountant. I always go a little under, not over.
Maybe a little less than that, maybe like 44, 45, somewhere.
Okay.
All right, moving down to old business, consideration of facade grant, Jerry Cole, 218 West Montgomery Street. I've got the facts and figures here. I think he's handed them in and they've got them misplaced or something, if anybody wants to look at it. He's getting the maximum. I think he spent about 7,000.
Well, we looked at this last month, and he didn't have pictures or a good explanation what he was doing or cost, or anything. Does he have all that now?
Yeah,
Okay.
the cost anyway.
I don't
It's
see-
already completed. And he did, I believe he said he did on the building when it was done, but he's sold the building since.
Yeah, these are mostly receipts here, okay. Carl, do you know how much of this has already been offset by the Main Street grant?
No. I do not know how much we gave him for Main Street. And I'm not sure, was it the same property that we gave him for Main Street?
Well, he had two pieces of property, handed them both at the same time. One was on Montgomery and one was on
No, Canner.
Candler.
Yeah. I don't recall how much is given to him by Main Street.
Does Main Street require any design submission or anything?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we have to see pictures and, make sure everything fits into what we're trying to do downtown.
Do you have the historical preservation people look at it?
If it's required.
This one on this side of the railroad wasn't historic.
Yeah, it depends on
No,
if it's required they have to get permission by the historical society if it's a historic building. If it doesn't fall within the historic district, then no, we don't have them look at it.
Okay, well, we started off years ago. This was before Carl. We had them to look at any facade that was going to be done to make sure it was somewhat consistent with the goals. So our position was that it had to have a certificate of appropriateness, I think is what it's
Okay.
called, from the Historical Preservation Commission prior to it coming to the DDA.
Yeah, and we didn't do that with Main Street, but we do, I mean, we look at it to make sure that it does fit into what, we're trying to do downtown.
So there's not any restriction at all if they come to Main Street and say, I want to do a facade, you just give them some money up front?
You don't even have to go to the
No,
facade.
no, we don't give them money up front. We pay the vendor directly. We don't give them any money.
But there's no matching,
There's no matching requirement, no.
so you're basically just giving them money to do their job.
But what we have to see their plans, and it has to fit into the plans. I mean, and it's not like we're just going to give them money and say, here, go do whatever you want to with it. We know exactly what they're going to do because we see the fully, nice color pictures and everything of the plans of what they're going to do
Oh,
before
you
they
do?
do it. Oh, yeah.
You do actually get a rendering of the
Oh, yeah.
job.
Yeah, we require that.
Yeah, we do too.
That's what I was looking for, and he didn't have that in his application last time.
Yeah, still not here, but it's already
Yep.
done.
Yeah.
And you spent how much on it, Jerry?
7281.
7281, and he wants half of that?
No, we'll give him half of 5,000. Isn't that right, Tracy?
No. We could give him up to 5,000. We could match him dollar for dollar up to 5,000.
I thought the way he explained it to me, we drove him a check for
I was about to
$2,500.
say it's got 25 on the front there.
Well, that's half what we used to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says Villa Rica Main Street. Is that 2,500? I guess the way it's.
Well, there could be some confusion between here and
Main
there.
Street, DDA, yeah.
That is, but I haven't even seen either one of them.
It looks good. Got new awnings on there and freshly painted.
How about the insurance office? What does it look like on the Wilson Street side?
Insurance office on the back side.
Yeah.
Is painted.
How about the door?
I think the door has been painted.
He's got a new covering over the back door as well. It looks good. Look at it every day.
And I think he's given to the staff somewhere. And he said he gave it to him the same time that he give both of them at the same time. Some way.
I just think that we're getting so many cooks in the kitchen on these grants that I don't care who actually is the focal group. But unless we're all in agreement as to what we're doing and the procedure to use, I think, we need to reconsider what we're gonna be doing going forward.
Going forward.
Yeah, because the whole idea was never to give somebody money just to do a facade. It was to help them out do the facade.
Yeah.
And I think historical preservation, from my understanding, is working on trying to get the Southern Commercial District part of the historical district, so that it would have to go before HBC in the future,
Future.
for future applications. So that may answer your questions, concerns
Well,
there.
we knew it didn't have to go, but
Right.
we wanted them to look at it to make sure it would blend in with the long-term.
I see, okay.
efforts on-
So more of an advisory kind of
Yeah,
thing, not
yeah.
necessarily for
Yeah,
denial or
we
approvals.
actually did that with the building next door to Chat and Chew.
Okay,
The historical preservation people looked at the plans and recommended that we go along with a facade grant on it. But that's the only one I remember doing that with them. But they had agreed to look at any of them that came up to make sure that there was continuity on both sides.
Right.
And not
Okay.
have one side of the track looking like Helen,
Mhm.
literally, and then this side looking like something else.
right, okay. Which I think we did last time, we discussed also maybe fleshing out the standards of the application a little better too.
Yeah, I think we talked about just
Purpose of it,
redoing
right.
the whole application process and the requirements and everything in there,
Right.
because it was kind of
I
up in
think
the air.
Yeah, I think it really needs to be, and, to have just one focal point here for these and not have the DDA having one set and Main Street one set, and, it was never intended to just give somebody money to do a facade
Mm-hmm.
or do a facade. It was to assist somebody in doing a facade. And it was never intended for upkeep. It was always
Right.
intended for modifications, major structural modifications. And that's my position, and I'm sticking to it.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Any more questions? Do I hear a motion?
I think considering the background here and the confusion that had reigned, I can go along. I move that we do that this be the last one until we get together and get everybody on the same sheet of music.
Okay, got a motion to have a second
What was the motion? You just said the motion was to do that. What is that?
to approve,
Yeah.
approve applicant,
Pardon?
2,500.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. But it will be the
From now.
last one until we get together with Main Street and, come up with a common goal here.
Got a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor? All opposed? All right, moving on down to, Kimberly's not here, report on third quarter business visits. Does anybody have anything to report? I've got one. We got a new business on Wilson Street that's gonna open up, Rainbow Vacuum Cleaner Distributor. And I did visit them.
Where are they?
Kevin Smith's building,
Oh, yeah. They're right next to the chiropractor?
chiropractor and where again, yeah.
He a local guy?
I don't think so.
And he's a vacuum cleaner.
Rainbow Vacuum,
Sales
these,
and-
the people that go out on, that
Repair.
knock on your door and try to sell.
Oh.
They got the really expensive
Yeah.
tank
Yeah.
vacuum cleaners.
Well, they spending
Yeah.
some money. They've had the security company there for one full day, so they want to make sure they have plenty of security there.
So is it a showroom, or is there going to be just a base of operations for the door-to-door people?
He said there won't be much activity there. Most everybody go out to sell, but they wouldn't have a display there that people could look at.
Okay.
And then Kimberly gave a report too. She said, here's hers. She's out sick. She says, I'm happy to report that I have 2 new businesses, one in downtown. One is Downtown DIY Studio, which is an art studio and retail store, and the other is Trackside Music Lessons. She said she invited all business owners to attend future DDA meetings and encouraged them to attend this evening.
Yeah, Trackside is next to Rex, part of Rex Camp's building.
Vape store kind of next to
Next to the vape store, yep. And then the other one took the place of that pottery place that was there for just a few months.
in Rex's building also.
Yeah, well, it's,
It's on the front end, near where,
near Jane's, isn't it?
yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
It's supposed to be closer to the Haven.
okay.
Yeah.
On that end, yeah. And then over there where I am, we've had a lot of activity going on because the thrift store's gone. And they've been in there cleaning that place out. They're still working on it. It's going to take forever, I think, to get that. They destroyed that building. And they're, he's been in there every day just fixing it up. They put in a whole new bathroom, and now they just redid the backside porch
Which
on it the
building is
other
that
day.
now?
The one,
Born again thrift store.
Born Again Thrift Store, it's next to the Home Furnishings Market.
Okay,
Once it's done, Home Furnishings Market's going to move in and take over that entire, the one they're in now and the one next to it. They're going to knock out that wall and make it one big place, so. And then the Hickstown had a big event this weekend. It was a big success, and I just want to praise them because when I got in this morning, it was totally cleaned up. They had everything put away and no trash anywhere, so
good.
looked better than when I left Friday, so.
That's good.
They did a good job of taking care of, because they took over that entire block and had Oktoberfest there over the weekend.
I saw they were gonna have a 3-day event.
Music,
there.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
What is the name of that?
Hickstown Brewery.
Thank
yeah, they're doing a lot to really build up their business, so.
Now, between the existing brewery and the thrift store, isn't that where the offices are in there?
Mhm.
So they're gonna skip the.
No, the offices are, it's HFM, the Home Furnishings Market on the other end, not Hickstown, but Home Furnishings Market is going to take over the space next to them, which was the thrift store.
And then the office.
And then the offices are next, and then there's Hickstown.
But Hickstown's going to expand some too?
No.
Okay,
Mm-mm. No, they don't have anywhere to go right now.
I didn't think so.
No,
Go down.
unless they take over the offices, but they have to get rid of the offices then to do that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is anything moving with James over there? No.
nothing's moving with Jane's.
Okay.
It's all held up in a trust or something right now, so.
Right.
All right, update on the electronic changing station for downtown.
Kim asked for some information, just on the number of vehicles. I did the best I could on research for that. 2017 was the most complete information. Georgia ranks 5th in the nation for registration of electric cars, 13,500. That's increased obviously since then. Numbers in 2014 for nationwide sales was at 755,000. That of course has increased as well. So everything's on the rise, just like every other aspect. Things are growing and doing more. So I'd like to see more up-to-date numbers, but that's all that the government is producing for that. Looked at, spoke with Sharon. She gave me two places to look into for grants, and I wanted to get y'all's feedback. Should I proceed with that to see the process, or are we just still on talking points? But Department of Economic Development and Department of Community Affairs, also Clean Cities, they are in every state nationwide. Clean Cities, Georgia, they're two contacts I've done for them that I could reach out to as well. So I don't mind reaching out to see if those are possibilities, if y'all agree with that.
And Andy, I bet those numbers, more recent numbers, have probably not grown as much as they did in the numbers you have because the tax credit ran out. Georgia had a huge tax credit for a while, and you could actually get one of those little leaf cars for free with the tax credit. Yeah, it was crazy. They don't have that anymore, so I bet the numbers haven't grown as much as they did then. Yeah.
Well, then again, though, the Teslas have become
Yeah,
pretty
Tesla's become
affordable,
big, but
and they've gotten, so they
mhm.
could
It
have.
looks
But
good.
Yeah.
they don't look like Poindexter's car. They look like sports cars.
It's incredible. I did find every manufacturer of automobiles, every brand has an electric car at some point, whether it's branded under them or another brand. So pretty impressive for that.
Where would we put such a charging station?
I would propose around the mill, whether it's in front of y'all's office, because that right now is where tourism's coming in. When people come to Villa Rica,
I would say
that's
the welcome
where they're gonna get that information. And it's on the low side there of the mill, so you could park there as well for that. You're a block away from restaurants and things like that. The average charging time is 45 minutes to get enough charge to go around. And again, it's not the intent of bringing in locals that could charge their car at home. It's the intent of getting off the interstate if you're going through. Or the thought of that.
Yeah. What is the cost of
I do not know that.
installing?
Yeah, Georgia Power lists on theirs, they work with communities, and I did not see any numbers on that. Of course, Tesla would be direct through them buying that station. And there are free stations where the city would be on the hook for it, and that's probably what Newnan does in their parking garage. But there are also pay-as-you-go stations, so it's no different than you going up to a pump and swiping your card and filling up the tank. You have the same opportunity with the electric stations as well.
Are all of the cars chargeable at the same station?
Yes. Tesla has a supercharger that only works with Teslas, but that is only available for them, and through, when you purchase the car, you add on that package to get their supercharger numbers. But all the others will charge with a general home electric extension cord. It just charges overnight, but you have a faster charger that you plug in 220 versus 110.
Mhm.
And Andy, I have a contact for Georgia Power that maybe he can lead us to somebody who can help you out with. pricing and all that stuff, or whatever you need from Georgia Power.
Also with that, I mean, where does this fall in? Obviously, we brought it up here for DVA or tourism because it's a way to help downtown have another drawing point. But
Right.
is that something city council might look at as benefit? Does the city have plans for any electric cars for their fleets of anything?
Yeah, that's a good point.
And if so, then that's a dual-edged use right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I would just support right now, just if you want to continue, follow up with those 3 potential grants.
Okay.
I think it's a good idea too.
And just, get us as much information as you can, and then maybe we'll put a proposal together.
Okay. I didn't want to overstep and start reaching out with talking about intents.
I think we need to look into it.
I agree.
All right, we'll move on down to number 5, new business. That one yours, Bill?
That's mine. We're back once more, and Mr. Barber is here, and that's good. Back to the crossing here, Tom. You know, the letter that has disappeared, did you ever find it by any chance? Well, I talked with Larry Wood, and he, in his memory, there was a guy named Darrell Green with Norfolk Southern out of Birmingham that actually wrote the letter to the city of Villa Rica laying down the conditions for doing the crossing. It included, whatever construction had to be done and stopping the trains if they had to, which I wouldn't think they would have to do that while they're doing this. But if you would like his name and number, his name is Darrell Green. His number is 205-951-4736. Darrell.green@nscorp.com. His mailing address, Transportation Department, 1400 Norfolk Southern Drive, Birmingham, Alabama, 35210. As I discussed with Mr. Barber several weeks ago, the people over at Caliber One, there's about 23 or so folks in that building now. And they have assured me that if we could provide them with a safe crossing of the railroad track and Highway 78, that they would park on this side of the tracks. Okay, say that that's only 20. That's basically generating 20 more spaces on that side of the tracks, on the far side. That's a large parking lot. That's as many cars as can park from the upper cut down to Counter Street on one side. So it's important that we maximize what we've got, and we're still struggling to do that. But if we can possibly pursue this, I think everybody would benefit from it.
Now, the crossing you're referring to is the flat crossing here.
Right here, yeah.
Is there, and I know with the whole Chief Street issue, they were threatening the crossing in the middle there. Is that a less expensive and an easier alternative to make that more accessible with a flashing light system or something where a pedestrian presses a button to stop traffic versus interrupting our biggest intersection in downtown? And just
This intersection here, Andy, we've been working on it for 30 years. And we developed a parking lot over on the other side on Wilson Street, hoping to connect it and hoping to connect downtown in a loop, walking loop. Okay, that's been the long-term plan. And plans, sometimes work and sometimes they don't, but progress is slow. I don't care what you're trying to do. Progress is slow. And this is the easiest thing to do from an engineering standpoint. I met with the engineer out of Birmingham on this years ago. He said, yeah, put the sidewalks on the inside of the arms to make sure, or try to make sure people didn't walk between the arms and out in front of a railroad train. But it's unsafe now. This would make it safer. And so that was their reason for even agreeing to it, that it would make the existing thing safer, to make sidewalks on both sides of the road, one going to the east side of the intersection and one going to the west side of the intersection.
Okay.
So that'd go a long way toward alleviating some of our problem.
Okay.
Okay, that's it.
All right. Moving on to number 6, public comment. Items future agenda.
Kimberly, provided a facade grant application for the Billerica Barber Shop. Now you just made the motion that we're holding off on these. So that would need to go on, I guess, a future agenda. It's 111 Main Street for an awning. But they did not have their pricing or anything or picture.
Yeah, we need to revisit that before we look at any more. We do. Now, Main Street can do what it wants to, but we need to get together on that.
Would that fall under Main Street, Carl? Just
They could get
just an
exterior improvement grant from Main Street. If they meet all the that application that was turned in though wouldn't do it. I mean, it's got to have cost and pictures and there's a list of requirements on the exterior improvement grant applications that she can get online. It has all the requirements for the Main Street.
Okay, all right. All right, come on up, Mr. Tom.
Back in the spring, we started working on a project to renovate the sidewalk in the block where Hickerstown is. And that required a GDOT and a Norfolk Southern permit. So we just about gotten the GDOT part finished, but what it spurred out of Norfolk Southern was a review of our lease. So they own all this land up to the front of these buildings, and we were paying them $6,000 something a year, I think. So they come back with a new lease agreement, and the city and the DDA are signers on the lease. So if y'all could put that on your agenda, I'm planning to take it to the first agenda in October to the council, and then if I could bring it back, we can have it approved by the end of October.
That, I hate to bring this up again, but I negotiated with Norfolk Southern for that 30-foot strip. And it was agreed to. And then Norfolk Southern took the city council on a short train ride. And it came back down here for us to endorse a lease that included not only the 30-foot strip, but Highway 61, Main Street, and everything else, all the way downtown. And it went from like $500 a year to $5,000 a year. And
When was this?
oh gosh, it's been years ago. But we wound up leasing DOT land from Norfolk Southern, which is Highway 61 out here, and Main Street, and plus the 30-foot right-of-way that we had worked out. And anyway, it is what it is. And what is the amount of this new lease? $6,000
10.
again?
Gone from 6 to 10.
Good night. I'm assuming the DDA will not be held accountable for the 10.
No, the city's been paying them.
Well, sounds like what you call being had.
I'm glad you found a clean way to say that.
Yeah. Yep. When you're had, you're had.
Mhm.
Any questions from Tom
So Tom, when do you, I guess we'll see that next month?
at our next meeting?
Okay.
I don't see any alternative.
I don't either.
Yeah, I don't know the history of it.
Well, I just told you this. Okay.
All right.
But why should we be paying a lease on GDOT land though?
That was my question too.
So maybe we need to reevaluate that.
Well, to even go back further, when the depot was sitting over there, which is right where 61 is now, the main crossing downtown was on Candler Street, and 61 came in on South Carroll, turned left on 78, and went down a block and crossed the track right over here on Candler Street, and then on out.
Okay.
That crossing became impassable because it was like a camel hump there.
Mm-hmm.
So Norfolk Southern and GDOT got together, tore down the depot, and 61 was put in there where the depot was. And so I don't know what kind of deal GDOT worked out with Norfolk Southern, but surely Norfolk Southern didn't give them anything. I don't know that they did, but I would be surprised. So there's a relationship here. We are paying for Highway 61. We are paying for our own Main Street. We are paying for our 30-foot original deal. And it's gone from 500 to 10,000. So it's just, I don't know the history between GDOT and Norfolk Southern. But obviously it happened.
Right.
Obviously it happened. But I guess we're gonna have to endorse this because we're not gonna do away with Highway 61, are we?
Nope.
Right.
All right, anything on executive session?
Do we need to vote on that, Tom? Okay.
Not yet. You will.
Nothing on executive, do I have motion to adjourn the DDA meeting?
So moved.
All right, got a second?
No, second.
All in favor? All right, we'll call the CVB meeting to order. Has everybody taken a chance to look at our minutes from our last meeting?
Yeah, I've got one correction. The
All right.
date's wrong in it says that the meeting was July 22nd. Should be August 26th. But with that change, I make a motion to approve the minutes.
All right, got a motion, got a second? All in favor? All right, financial report, Mr. Carl.
Yeah, here we go. All right, so this is the report from the beginning of the year to the end of last month, so January through August, of where we stand in our budget there next to it. And right now, we are ahead of budget, $5,644. We're a little behind budget in our collections, just because, that's an estimate based on the tax collections. We never really know what that number's going to be, but so we're a little behind there based on our estimate, but our expenses are coming in less than what we had estimated. So that's why we are ahead $5,600.
Any question, Mr. Carl?
And right now in our available funds are $43,302.
Where is that 43,000?
Oh, it's not on that sheet.
Okay,
That's what we've got in the bank, less a couple of things that have not been paid for yet.
I got
So,
you.
a couple of things we approved last month that I haven't gotten a bill for yet, so they haven't been paid, but they're being accounted for.
Any more questions, Carl? Moving on down to number 4, old business. If no old business, new business?
I get, just a question that just, Wesley was gonna talk to us about Pine Mountain. Is he still planning on doing that at a meeting at some point, or?
Monet?
What's that?
Yes, when Wesley's gonna,
Yeah, but not, he's in the middle of getting ready for the coach training.
No, okay. I just wondered if that was still on the agenda at some point.
Yeah,
Okay.
the other issue is he doesn't work on Mondays. He works Tuesday to Saturday.
Oh.
We'll figure it out sometime.
Okay.
Any public comment? Item for future agenda? Executive session? Do I have a-
No,
Well, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
yes.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Thank you.
Short and sweet.
Bill, what happened to Dr. Burnett and Brian?
What happened to him,
I never heard back from him.
I think he was waiting on you, Tom. That was my impression.